Rumors and epidemics often go hand in hand. We've all heard them. As soon as there is an outbreak, rumors spread like wildfire, some through social media and others through word of mouth. Rumors can be as dangerous as the epidemic itself if not dealt with properly.
The way that rumors replicate and spread are very similar to how viruses spread. They need a host, they need to be supported to stay alive and thrive. Rumors have been around since man existed, but I think right now what's changed with technology, and particularly social media and the internet, is the global spread and the speed. I mean, look at Twitter. You need 140 characters or something. And that's all you need to spread some of the rumors and perceptions that we're certainly tracking. And one of the things we found is that rumors thrive in times of uncertainty. They thrive in times where people need an answer, are eager for an answer.
This was evident in the 2017 Ebola outbreak in the DRC.
Toute la ville sait que quand on vient, on reçoit le vaccin, on est contaminé encore davantage. Vous voyez, ce sont des rumeurs et c'est ce qui nous a beaucoup touchés. Mais moi, je sais que c'est pour être guéri.
Currently, the whole world is witnessing various rumors and conspiracy theories about COVID-19. There is suspicion and panic in the air, leading to large protests. Many believe COVID-19 is a government conspiracy to control the population.
Some of the rumors now circulating around COVID are not unlike some of the rumors around Ebola. There are rumors that COVID doesn't exist, that it was fabricated either for reasons of manipulation of publics or to give an excuse for vaccine companies to make more money. There's all kinds of rumors about the motive. There are also rumors that 5G was causing COVID. But we heard similar rumors around SARS, that was 3G, and H1N1 was 4G. Some of these are old rumors that are re-emerging.
D'autres rumeurs, surtout actuellement par rapport aux masques. Il y en a qui pensent que les masques qu'on distribue sont contaminés. Il y a plusieurs activités qui ont été organisées, notamment de dialogue communautaire, où la communauté était appelée à s'exprimer, à dire ce qu'elle pense, à donner sa perception. On faisait intervenir et on a fait intervenir, comme nous dans le cas du projet EBODAC, les experts qui pouvaient venir pour donner des réponses claires à la communauté. Comme ça, cela pouvait permettre d'élever ces rumeurs-là.
Well, good afternoon, good morning, wherever in the world you're joining us from. I'm very happy to be here today with my esteemed and trusted panel members, which trust is a really important theme in our meeting, particularly when it comes to rumors. And today we have a great panel from who have been working with EBODAC in different capacities with the Ebola vaccine initiative to promote the deployment, acceptance, and compliance. That's EBODAC, which you've been hearing about in this meeting, have played different roles from Rwanda to Sierra Leone, DRC, and across all three. I think I'm going to start actually with Robert Kanwage. Robert, please introduce yourself. I'll start with Robert because he's been quite our hero and lead across the multiple countries we've been working in, and to tell us about the role of rumors and how it's been a challenge for us, but also how we've gone about addressing it. And then Robert, if you could introduce EBJ, and then I can pick up and introduce Namdi, and maybe Alex Dodo from Ghana will be able to join us. Thanks.
Thank you, Heidi, for that introduction. As you said, I've been working on the EBODAC project since 2015, early 2015, to support the deployment of the Ebola vaccine in Sierra Leone and then Uganda, Rwanda, and presently DRC, where I'm based. I've been working very closely with Abubakar Jallo, who's Sierra Leonean, based in Gambia. Gambia is a borderline district with Guinea Conakry, which also had an Ebola outbreak. Rumors have been persistent in all the contexts that we have worked, whether it is in Sierra Leone, whether it is in Rwanda, whether it is in DRC. Rome has been one of the challenges that we have faced during the deployment of the vaccine. Specifically, if I were to talk about DRC, as we all know, has been a complex emergence since independence. There has been war in DRC. There have been disease outbreaks in DRC. Populations have moved. Some Congolese have lived out of their country since the 60s, living in neighboring Uganda and Rwanda. And all this complex situation in DRC has led to fueling or generation of rumors. And if I were to be very specific and talk about public health emergency, in the just last 2 years where I've been in DRC has suffered what I call the triple tragedy. They have had an Ebola outbreak, they have had a measles outbreak, and they are now having the COVID outbreak in the same period of time. That triple tragedy means it has created various forms of rumors that have circulated around the outbreak of measles, rumors around the outbreak of COVID, and rumors around the outbreak of Ebola, meaning that as a team championing the deployment of the Ebola vaccine, we have had to deal with the rumors within the Ebola vaccine deployment, but also outside the Ebola vaccine deployment. So the changing context means that rumors have evolved over a period of time, right from whether these rumors are being specific about Ebola, and at the start of this outbreak, when Ebola, there was an Ebola outbreak in DRC, many communities did not believe that there was actually an outbreak. They thought maybe this was a business community and the political leaders trying to push the outbreak for political and business motives. It took a lot of engagement with these communities for them to accept that the outbreak was actually real and it was not simply a joke. So as part of the Ebola response, we all know that WHO approved the use of the Ebola vaccine amongst high-risk communities and persons. And this also became a concern within the communities where the vaccine was being deployed. I remember when I was in Beni, when the Ebola vaccine was being deployed there are people who thought and still believed the rumor that this was simply a vaccine being deployed to cause more Ebola infections, or to poison people, or to create infertility amongst women and men in the communities. So as we grew the confidence within the communities, basically engaging them for them to appreciate the benefits of taking the Ebola vaccine and creating that trust, we saw an increase in the demand for the vaccine, both in Beni and now in Goma. But that did not simply come as a result of simply going out and giving out the vaccine. It meant that we go out, identify where these rumors are coming from. Sometimes you have to identify specifically who's responsible for generation of this rumor or these new rumors, and what kind of stakeholder are they within the community. Then you are able to engage or develop an appropriate message that would then tackle these rumors. I have to say that the evolution of rumors sometimes is not a result of misinformation. Sometimes people spread rumors because they are simply not happy with the way, maybe, for instance, a recruitment of a community health work to participate in the project has been done. So frustrations can also cause people to come up with rumors as a means to counter maybe a mismanagement or a lack of engagement that did not happen during the setup of the project. So it's like a frustration. So, okay, since you have not involved us in your project, let's come up with something that can frustrate your work. And therefore, they frustrate it by coming up with a rumor, which they spread into the community to just scare off others that would actually benefit from the vaccine. So we then had the Ebola rumors. We went into the vaccine deployment. Rumors started circulating around the vaccine. As we were deploying the vaccine, then we got the COVID-19 outbreak. So the rumors began with the Ebola outbreak, nothing to do with the vaccine. Communities don't believe that this is actually an outbreak. The disease is real. They think it is a political motive. It is a business opportunity. As we tackled making the communities aware that this was actually an outbreak, we have a vaccine which comes in. Communities now shift from, okay, Ebola exists, but then this vaccine is simply being brought here to poison us or to create more infections. As we engage the communities and convince them that actually this vaccine was a benefit for them to protect them from infections of Ebola, we then have the COVID-19 outbreak. So you now have to deal with the outbreak of COVID and the rumors associated with it, at the same time convincing the communities to take the Ebola vaccine. So that evolution from the disease Ebola outbreak, from the COVID, from the Ebola vaccine deployment, now from the COVID-19 outbreak, created a very unique situation where we had to deal with the rumors evolving at different times. At the bottom of this, our role was simple: identify a rumor, identify, if possible, the source of the rumor in terms of geography, if possible, the stakeholders that could be driving this rumor or the person that could be driving this rumor. Why are they driving this rumor? And then come up with means and strategies to address the rumors. And this has really worked well, as the more we address the rumors, the more confidence the communities had in the vaccine, the more confidence the community had in working with us, and the more relevant the project became to the communities, and the more engagement and ownership and support from the communities we got, especially from cultural leaders and other leaders into the community. So this isn't our work. This helped us to increase the uptake of the vaccine in Goma and in Beni. Within 3 months in Goma, we had been able to recruit 20,000 people to take the vaccine between 3 months. That was between December and February, December 2019 and February 2020. And within 1 month, 2 months after the prime dose had been taken, 10,000 people, 50% of the 20 had taken their boost vaccination, because we had built a relationship with the community. We built a structure that could listen, get community feedback, identify the rumors, and then respond to the rumors appropriately, and also use stakeholders that were key in building the trust to address some of the rumors. Thank you, Heidi.
I think, thank you, Robert. That was an excellent overview of the situation and just the context of rumors, and especially in a complex situation where you have not only Ebola, but also COVID coming in. What's interesting to me is the fact that some of the early rumors about Ebola, that it didn't exist, that it was politically driven or other motives or made up, was not unlike what we heard at the beginning of COVID. So some of these questions and uncertainties were quite similar. But I think also characterizing the process that you go through, and that it's not just about deleting the rumor, but you really need to identify what it is, where it came from, who are the vulnerable and potential people that it'll impact on, the stakeholders. And I think the important thing you mentioned too is why. Because just deleting the rumor without trying to understand what's driving it is not going to really deal with the root of the problem. Let's turn to Sierra Leone. Please introduce yourself, EBODAC, and if you could tell the story from there, and then we'll come to Namdi in Rwanda, or speaking about Rwanda, because this is all related to the EBODAC, and then we'll come and welcome Alex. Thank you for joining from Ghana. We're really grateful you could be with us, and I think you'll tell us the story from Ghana, but also reflect on, again, the importance of paying attention to rumors early. Over to Sierra Leone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, I am Abubakar Jallo, a former community liaison facilitator for EBODAC in Sierra Leone vaccine trial. I presently reside in Cambia district, a border district, just as mentioned by Robert. Of course, I've worked with the EBOVAC project in Cambia district for 4 years now. And within this period, we got a lot of experiences basing on community acceptance and compliance on vaccine trials across the district and other project operational areas. You know, the West African Ebola scourge actually devastated a lot of families. That is the Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, of course, our border countries, and about 28,000 people, of course, were affected with the Ebola, and 11,000 among them within the 3 countries died of the virus. So people had a lot of sad experiences with the outbreak. They lost their relatives and loved ones, so they had bitter experiences. So that was the moment when this particular vaccine came in Cambia district, and the place where the project operates is the place where the last case of Ebola was defeated. So with those experiences, we actually envisaged emerging rumors, misconceptions. People had doubts about even the existence of the Ebola itself, not to talk about a vaccine. So because of this, a lot of issues came up. I think this has some similarities with what has happened from the general view from Robert. Also here, sometimes the people spread rumor because they have bitter experiences, and they have doubts about the existence of even the virus itself, the Ebola itself. So that happened before the coming of the vaccine trial. So because they have bitter experiences, they lost their families, so they normally have doubts about the existence of the virus. That is one of the reasons why they spread rumor. One could also be because of misinformation. The misinformation could also be limiting the community messaging or the community engagement in a particular project operational area rather than looking at the general perspective. Because sometimes people who reside outside of the project operational areas may have influence to the participation of the targeted population. So that could also be another factor for people to spread rumor. People could also spread rumor out of assumption. They could just sit and assume based on their previous experiences. That could also be another reason. Like we, of course, experienced a lot of rumors in Cambia district. Some of them, major part of it was some said the vaccine is a slow poison. Others said the blood that is withdrawn from participants is for sale, so it's for business purposes. And others also talk about sometimes when participants died, the cause of the death, of course, is not related to the vaccine. Sometimes people perceive it to be as a result of the vaccine, even though their death is as a result of a natural death or otherwise. So sometimes all those rumors could lead to, could affect community participation. And to some point, even some people may want to withdraw their participation from the trial. Of course, of recent, this COVID-19, the index case of corona in Cambia district is transmitted from a doctor who worked with EBOVAC, this particular project in Cambia district. So as a result, there was people actually at the community level alleged that EBOVAC is responsible for the coming of corona into the district where the project operates. So actually, responding to those rumors, of course, has to do with several strategies. One was this one for the COVID-19 was the Ministry of Health and Sanitation actually helped as a third party, helped in responding to that particular rumor to explain to the people exactly about the reality of the COVID-19 and that EBOVAC has nothing to do with it. And also, like majority of the other rumors, the lessons we learned is the fact that one, the involvement of a third party could also help respond to a rumor rather than, a response response from the project itself, because sometimes what matters most to people is what people say about you than what you say about yourself. So that is one we actually experienced that we've learned. We also learned that sometimes it is important when engaging community people to actually stop the spread of rumor. It is important for you to do your community engagement with the wider audience rather than looking at it from a smaller or limited number of people within your project operational areas. Otherwise, you might actually give the necessary information to those whom you are targeting, but at the same time, those who are not actually part of it, like outside of the project operational area, may actually influence others who are, because they are not well informed about the project or what it is about. That could also one of the lessons we learned. Also, we realized that rumors is basically not only based on misinformation. People could just actually sit and make conclusions based on their past experiences. That could also be another one. Then also the change of protocols. For instance, the protocol of a particular project, the change of protocol requirement or like the inclusion criteria at the mid of community recruitment could also affect, could create a doubt, community doubt, thereby affecting their participation. Because for instance, in the case of Cambia dispute, there was like the recruitment of children participants. At first, we have the guardianship policy. The consent of parents, both parents. So after the recruitment of certain number of participants, looking at those protocols, then at the middle of the recruitment, there was a change in protocol. So when we go back, many of those who volunteered, we found out that may not be eligible as a result of the change of policy. So that actually created a lot of doubts from people. That could also be another lesson we learned. So interestingly, we have few steps. Normally in Sierra Leone, we used to deal with rumors. One could be, the first one is to detect the rumor. The second one, identify the rumor sources. Then the third one, you analyze the rumor. Then the fourth one, you decide to respond to the rumor or not to respond, because there are certain rumors you may choose not to respond to, because you will actually, after the analysis, you might say, probably the implication if I respond to this rumor might be bigger than the way it is at the moment. So those are actually some of the strategies we use. Then you also, with the analysis, you take a decision as to whether you will respond to this particular rumor with the general perspective or at a smaller level, at a household level. For example, if you have an issue with a disagreement with parents for their child participation, that could be handled at household level rather than from the general perspective. So basically, this is exactly how we have actually dealt with rumors in Sierra Leone. And at the moment, the projects have succeeded over the years in recruiting various categories of people in the project.
Thank you. That was another really important perspective. And I think the point of sometimes you'd have to decide after you've kind of identified the rumor and where it's coming from, to the extent you can understand where it came from, and trying to analyze what's going on here, what's behind it, not just what it is. As you say, sometimes you have to decide whether to respond or not. Or I guess it's how you would respond, because as you say, you might want to do it in a kind of low on the radar, individually addressing it, or if you want to make a more public challenge or alternative statement to undermine the rumor. All important. Thank you so much. That was really another perspective on the from another setting. Namdi, you've been working on the border of Rwanda for vaccination on both sides, and it's a bit of a different situation there because the Ebola vaccine, that vaccines Robert and Abubakar were talking about were trial vaccines, were vaccines that were still in the context of trials. But Rwanda was a slightly different experience where the government had given exceptional approval for the vaccine to be used outside of the trial context. They felt they had enough confidence from the tens of thousands of people who had been given the vaccine in trials across Africa and in Europe and elsewhere, that they felt like in the context of this emergency, it was they were ready to move forward. So tell us about the nature of the work you were doing there as a behavioral scientist. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Namde Zanoche. I'm a public health physician with expertise in behavior change, data science, and digital health technology. For full disclosure, currently, I'm one of the lead behavior scientists in Johnson & Johnson. And like Heidi said, I have been working closely with the Rwandan government with this Ebola vaccine program. The goal being to vaccinate 200,000 people around the border between Rwanda and Congo. Also, to Heidi's point, I also wanted to give a opening perspective to why rumors matter, because at the heart of it, it's a critical factor and driver that contributes to overall vaccine hesitancy. Vaccine hesitancy being that spectrum of intentions that people have towards getting a vaccine, from those who will say, I will get it immediately, to those who will say, I will never receive a vaccine under any condition. Rumor is a critical determinant of that, and so that's why it's important that we have to address it. Within the context of our experience working in Rwanda, one of the ways in which rumors first showed its symptomatic presence was a decline in the amounts of participants voluntarily coming to receive the first and the second dose of the vaccine. So we had seen people show up in certain amounts of number. Over time, we expected that number might reduce just because that's the way diffusion of innovation tends to happen. But when we started to see some rapid declines, we were a bit concerned. And so that's what made us look back to see what is going on here. So in doing that, we relied heavily on a data-driven process in different phases. So our first phase was we needed to diagnose the problem of why people were coming at a lower rate for their first and second dose and what was driving this. A key word here was systematic approach, because what had happened was that there were different anecdotes of rumors that were coming. So someone said, I talked to someone here and this is what they said. Another person said, I heard something here and this is what they said. And they were all important stories, but we wanted to make sure that whatever our response was going to be had to be informed by data that was generalizable, as opposed to just being on one or two stories that a few workers had heard. So what we did was we relied on technology to be able to identify a representative sample and reach these people by telephone. And where we could, we went for home visits. But given that representative sample, we're able to then ask two main questions: the reasons for not coming for their vaccination visits, and then the types of support they would need in order to change their mind and show up. We decided not to go specifically and ask about rumors we had heard anecdotally, but wanted this to come out organically when we asked people for overall reasons why they were not coming. So in doing that, those rumors came out, but then in a more systematic way, and we're then able to elicit top reasons for people not showing up, and then top types of support people had indicated, if you provide for us, we will come. What was also interesting was that these reasons and support varied from region to region, from cell to cell, village to village. And so that was very interesting, because it also then gave us an opportunity to be able to use data to create targeted approach, as opposed to a one-size-fits-all for everybody in different villages across the border. And then once we were able to do that and then start deploying interventions, it also became important to us that we needed to set up a stronger surveillance system to help capture data from the field that will make sure we're able to understand a couple of things. One, that the interventions we put forth are actually working, but that two, in the future, we will be able to detect early indicators of rumors driving some type of hesitancy, so that we don't wait until people start not showing up to respond, but we're a bit more proactive. The types of data we then decided to collect were in three buckets. There was the data around the intervention itself and the extent to which people were going to be exposed and engage and interact with these interventions. There was a second set of data we were collecting around the drivers, the social determinant drivers of whether somebody will go and get a vaccine or not. It's in this space that a lot of community listening was instituted so that we can continue to pick up new rumors or evolving rumors or changing rumors as they may show up. And then the final set of data had to do with whether or not people showed up for the vaccine, so the rates of people coming for dose 1 and dose 2, and if that number changes or if those rates changes significantly over time and why they will. And so I think that trying to do that then has helped us to understand the performance of the interventions we've deployed and make adjustments when necessary to address rumors, but also that in the future we'll be able to pick up early signals and be more proactive in our responses. I will end by also saying I wanted to highlight the fact that technology has played a huge role in the way we've been able to handle and manage rumors, just because phone and mobile phone penetrance in Rwanda is quite high, and most households have access to a phone. So being able to reach a representative sample in order to diagnose, but also being able to reach that sample in order to deliver interventions has been very invaluable. And I just wanted to make sure that that point is underscored.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. And it gives a different approach, which is not just listening for rumors, but setting up a system to try to anticipate and understand where communities get, what are the trust relations, who do they listen to, and their own willingness. In the Vaccine Confidence Project, we often talk about what are the triggers, what are the actual rumors, as it were, what's the fertile ground, and then what are the impacts. And I think in this case, you were particularly looking at the fertile ground, because once you know that, you have a better sense of where you need to pay extra attention. But sometimes, because we do a lot of fertile ground research, sometimes things come up unexpectedly from different corners. And this is a perfect introduction to Alex Dodo, who's had a very, I'll ask him to introduce himself because his CV is quite long, but I've known and worked with him for a long time, particularly around vaccine safety, and really played a crucial role and voice in trying to navigate what became explosive and political issues around vaccine rumors around some of the earliest Ebola vaccine trials. The absolute earliest, phase 1, whereas the other ones we've been talking about were all later stage trials. So I'll leave the talking to you on this one, Alex. You're the the expert. Please introduce yourself and tell us Ghana's story and why it matters to all of our listeners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heidi, and thank you, Tim, for inviting me to be part of this discussion. My name is Alex Dodu. I am an associate professor of clinical pharmacology at the University of Ghana. My background is a pharmacist, and I'm involved mostly in vaccine safety, pharmacovigilance. So safety monitoring has been my job for several years, and medicine safety monitoring and vaccine safety monitoring. But since 2017, I work for the government of Ghana in charge of standards, measurements, imports and exports, and certification of products. So I think for my crimes in Ebola and other rumors, I have to work for the Republic, and I'm glad to do that. I would want to spend the next 10 minutes to discuss the Ebola situation in Ghana and how it occurred. And in that time, I would like to make a point between rumors when you have a pandemic vaccine versus rumor when there's a routine vaccine. And here I'm referring to how we introduced the malaria vaccine into Ghana. And definitely rope it into COVID, and then discuss one word I thought I would hear, which I did not hear yet: WhatsApp. WhatsApp as an application across Africa. Because in the Ebola outbreak in West Africa in 2014, 2015, WhatsApp was not being used. But if it had been very active then, I don't know whether the situation would have been the same now. So Ebola. For us in Ghana, Ebola was a demonstration of how, despite your best efforts, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. When we were approached, Ghana hosted the United Nations Mission for Ebola Emergency Response, UNMIR, even though the country had no case. So we were the logistics center for West Africa. So we were a good country to lead in the trials because we were leading in the logistics. We were looking after people where heads of state had to travel, they traveled through Ghana. So we thought, as scientists, that, well, government is already committed. We are working with the UN, we are leading the efforts. So when we got approached, we went through the ethical committees, met the leadership of parliaments, and thought, well, everything is okay. However, two key things comes up. We have scientific academies of eminent scientists who may have a slightly different view. Then you have the proposed study sites being the area where the ruling government at the time considered its voting World Bank for votes. So there are a lot of votes to be obtained there. Throw into that the fact that some of the study team have local issues with other members in the political administration. Then you can see that there is a mix. So I think the take-home message is that please do not ignore the fact that if scientists give conflicting information to governments, you open the space for a vibrant media to create rumors. Secondly, when parliamentarians are being engaged, please be aware that meeting the Minister for Health, talking to the President of the Republic, meeting the small select committees is not meeting the entire group of parliament. It can backfire because you meet them, they talk to you, but the message may not go to the entire leadership. Last but not the least, what we learned from Ebola was that in the same time as you are engaging the political leadership, do not ignore the media. Make space for the media to ask every single question. Really, I mean, make time and engage till you become a nuisance because you are over-engaging. Our lessons from Ebola was that, yes, the rumors were quiet. The community some were happy because there's a trial. Some were not happy, but it just took one member of parliament to make a flaw on parliament about a vaccine trial. Our response was too much textbook. Yes, we've passed through the various processes, but the country did not know. In fact, at that time, the same parliament was unaware that it had established a system. So the fact that your country has laws governing clinical trials, the fact that you are following those laws does not mean that the whole country is informed. And we cannot blame the country too much because to the average worker, life goes on until something big comes up, they don't get involved. So we had the laws, but the country was not aware we had the laws. Even parliament was not aware the laws were there. So when you have a rumor which presupposes that a criminal activity is being done, even though it's a legal activity which the regulator had approved, you give room for various views. So please, let's all be aware that engagement prior to any trial is the number one thing we must do. Let us be aware that the general public are not scientists, will not read the laws on clinical trials or drug regulation, and that our engagement of them will be like engaging our grandmother in the village on what is being done and the benefits. Let's move on to malaria. Prior to starting the malaria vaccine, we were very petrified. Indeed, we wanted to stop because of the experience of Ebola, which had not gone away. So we engaged. It took over 2 years. We went as far as meeting the president. We met the leadership of the ruling government and the opposition. We wrote to every single member of parliament. We wrote to all the regional and district administrators, not once, not twice, but 3 times. I mean, I call it engagement so that it gets very silly, but it was very useful. To the extent that when we started it, the community accepted it, the community wanted it. And I will flip quickly so that I don't go beyond my 10 minutes to speak about COVID, as to how COVID, another pandemic, is playing in a very interesting way. For starters, COVID has seen more conspiracy theories than both Ebola and malaria vaccine. And some of the theories have been based on the TV interview in France or what people just feel. Then you have a president promoting traditional medicine, COVID organics. So vaccine trials for COVID has to address an issue of why don't we use our own herbs and go for a vaccine, and address it in the context of a conspiracy theorist, and at the same time, address it in the context where African leaders are saying that do not leave us out if there's a vaccine to be distributed. So on one hand, African leaders want a people's vaccine, but we are not sure whether they want the people's vaccine to be developed with the involvement of Africans or to be developed elsewhere and exported to Africa. That is also another consideration for which we won't have time to go through. But what is the way forward? My view is that rumors would always come up. And as we build liberal democracies with vibrant medias, several rumors will be completely out of the blue and unrelated to any facts. It's a rumor, somebody gives it legs. It may even be fake news, but it will go out there. And our job will be to chase the rumor, to address it. We have taken the view that our best preparation will not be a guarantee for success. We just have to prepare, and when they arrive, deal with it. But there are a few key points we hope may help us all. Let's be aware that the difference between managing pandemic vaccines rollout and routine will be different. But let's ensure there's local leadership. We were successful in the malaria vaccine because phase 2, phase 3 trials were done in Ghana. And the communication was that Ghana is leading efforts with other partners to give the world a vaccine against malaria. And I think the communication around Ebola in future should go along the fact that local scientists in partnership with their foreign partners are bringing the vaccine to the population and later to the world. If it comes across as a few young men and women from Europe and America are coming to help Africa solve the problem, it can backfire. So I think the communication should be that this is our vaccine that we are sharing with the world, that we are developing with the world, that we are going to use our experience to share with the world. And then we are leading to help bring relief to mankind. And last but not the least, please let's be aware that if we have strong national regulatory agencies, Ghana's FDA was very strong, was very consistent, worked with the US FDA and EMA and others to chart the course, and they did not panic. Yes, they were bashed, but they did not panic. They stayed the course, and currently with the COVID vaccine, the community feels like if the Ghana FDA says it's good, we trust them. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. That was a great way to bring together and look forward at a different level, which is a bit more at the political level, but also recognizing not only at the political level, that you really need to have multiple strategies. And I think also the importance of engage, not just engage once and then get on with your trial. It's a constant iteration, because you can think you have things under control and you need to be constantly vigilant. Also, I think the point of local ownership and seeing this as locally owned, but also as an opportunity and not a requirement. I think one of the resistances we feel is that somebody is insisting we do this, not that this is an opportunity. I think that when and if we finally get a COVID vaccine, we really need to position it as you have a choice. But this is a huge opportunity that can have, a lot of liberating factors. And if you don't want it, there's a long line of people who do. So put it in ways that make you feel lucky that you have the chance. But again, that needs to be from local voices. I'm just going to, for a second, share my screen just to show you a, well, I'll try to share my screen here. I'm not going to show you the whole video. I just want to show you the link. Oops, if I can. Share screen. Okay. This is a, do you see the screen? My screen with the video
Yes.
link right now?
Yep.
Yes. This is just if you have time and are interested in, we went to Ghana, the Vaccine Confidence Project in the context of EBODAC, our Ebola work, and with a cameraman and an interviewer to go talk to multiple different voices, from the journalist to the local politician to Central to Alex, he had a key voice in the video, to really different people in different institutions and capacities to hear their views on the vaccines, why they started, why they got traction, and how they were in the end resolved. But anyway, it's a 10-minute video. We don't have time now, but it's, if you go to the vaccineconfidence.org website and search for Ebola vaccine trials in Ghana, it will take you to the video, and you can take 10 minutes to watch it. This is an unusual new way we've set up this consortium, this symposium on our work and all the work around the Ebola vaccine trials, with learnings that over the last 5 years of our work and the implications to move forward. We don't have a live discussion question right now, but really encourage all of our listeners. The way the model is, we have an agenda with the videos of all the panels pre-recorded for people in different time zones around the world to be watching. And then we will come together for a live discussion. I hope many of you can come and listen to the live discussion on Wednesday, October 21st in the afternoon. It will start at 2:30 UK time, and we'll just have 2.5 hours of discussion reflecting on all the different panels. There will be some an opportunity for anyone with questions on the Rumour panel. There will also be an opportunity at the end of this video to submit your questions to the panelists, which we will address in the live session on Wednesday. So thanks to all of the panelists. It was a fascinating discussion, and I think lots to digest as we move forward towards a COVID vaccine and hopefully others. Thanks again.